Hi there. Welcome again to Big Story Gazette. This video is kind of like on a follow-up of the last one, Voices in My Head. And this one, I think I kind of like to keep things kind of light. So the working title for this one is so far is going to be Who's Who in the Zoo. And I've got a subtitle, but I'm not. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Quit trying to be all cute and cryptic. Who's Who in the Zoo? Trust Your Data Part 3. There is a reoccurring theme in my perspective, in my sharing of my perspective, and that's trust your data. That's no outside authority. Matter of fact, in one of our newsletters, like I said, 25 years ago, we wrote an article specifically titled No Outside Authority. There is no outside authority qualified to tell you what's true for you, which is why I say conversely, I don't have any authority to tell you what's true for you. I'm sharing my perspectives, my story, and I was just thinking a little while ago that whenever I use the phrase consider the possibility, all I'm doing is suggesting to you that you would consider the possibility that what I'm saying might be true. I have already considered the possibility and have accepted it as real and true and incorporated it into my picture of reality. So when I use the phrase consider the possibility, I'm not considering the possibility. I've already done that, and you know, but I'm sharing that with you because I can't tell you what's true. I can't tell you the way that it is. The quote way that it is, because there is no quote way that it is. All that is experiencing all that is in its infinite myriad ways. I was listening to a video today. I'm not going to mention the name because, because I just, you know what? I'm just going to quit editing. Here I am editing again. I'm sorry. I was listening to a video on a channel. It's called, what is it? It's Corey Good's channel, Sphere Reading Alliance, which I subscribe to, and a lot of Corey Good's data rings true for me, but not all of it. But then it's okay because that's his perspective. That's coming from his point of view. And the truth of it is, everything is true. Everything is true. Whether you agree with it or not, all things are true, even in when it seems to oppose one another. Again, my definition of the paradox. Two things that seemingly contradict one another but simultaneously exist. And then Hilarious will say, life is exquisite in the center of the paradox, which allows everything to be. Everything to be. So I was listening to this video, and and all I kept hearing, was duality, duality, us and them, and I'm going, well, I can see that. I can see from a certain perspective that, and I can also see from another perspective unity consciousness. To where, again, my challenge, show me something outside of all that is. Just, you can't, because all that is inclusive of all that is. And then the paradox, my definition of paradox, allows for all that is to exist. My definition of a paradox, which is Larry's definition of a paradox, let me clarify that now. That my definition, which I've incorporated, two things that seemingly contradict one another but simultaneously exist. That is a direct quote from Hilarious. That's his definition of a paradox. And as I said, Hilarious in the 12-dimensional model, he emanates from the 10th dimension. So pretty much, you know, I don't care what anybody else says, but this is my position. Whatever Hilarious says, I'm gonna go ahead and pay attention to it and call it real. Because here I am in the third dimension trying to position myself in consciousness to the higher fourth, fifth dimension, and I'm interacting with the being from the 10th dimension. I'm gonna accept it as a given. He knows a little bit more than I do, so I'm gonna go ahead and trust him. Okay, and that's just my particular prerogative. That's what I choose to do. So anyway, uh, who's who in the zoo? Trust your data. Basically, what I was talking about, the voices in my head, the committee in my head, Zia Raluan, Michael, and Kim. And we do pretty much everything by consensus and committee. All the decisions that I make, it's everybody's got a equal input at the table. Well, I'm going to share a few other things, that pieces of information that I've gotten. Another working title might be Go Vertical, because very, very, very little of my information have I gotten horizontally from other people in the third dimension. And one of the reasons why I don't pay attention to other people's opinion in the third dimension or their expressions of stuff is simply because it's their opinion from a third dimensional perspective. I'll listen. I don't discount anything, but I'll listen and I'll weigh it. And if something that I of theirs that I've interacted with resonates with me, then I'll incorporate it. If it doesn't, I do the same thing with their information as I admonish you to do with mine. Just let it go. You're not. I'm. Don't be attached to my data, where I'm not attached to anybody else's data. I'm not anybody special. I'm no more special than anybody else. What works for me can possibly work for you, but it's not necessarily so. So it's like, you're the call. Your divine sovereignty. There were a lot of working titles for this piece, because there's a lot of pieces. I might have to just kind of keep it focused on a couple things, because, man, this since I woke up this morning, just all kinds of stuff going on in my head, and like different things that I wanted to say, and different focuses on particular video, but then everything's connected. I'd have to, like, I think it's going to have to be 2 or 3 successive videos to pull all this together. Otherwise, it'd be like an hour and a half video and me just rambling on, and you'd be way bored. You'd see an hour and a half and you wouldn't even click on it. So, uh, right now, I'm just going to talk about some stuff, that pieces of data that I've gotten over the years, and that will show where I mean by trust your data. And when I say that, I'm not saying about, oh, somebody else might call bullshit, because most of the data that I'm going to share, I've never told another soul. But my mental body, that's the antagonist, not somebody outside of me. It's my own internal structures and parameters and distortional filters. Because my third dimensional mental body, its filters are extremely distortional. So that's who I deal with. I don't worry about other people's opinion. It's the internal battle going on in my own head, okay, and the mental body, and that's the distortional structures that I work against. I have to call that the spiritual me, have to call bullshit on, because it tries to call bullshit on my data, because I get my data through my spiritual body from higher self, from the big me. Uh, okay, I'll start the first one. Long time ago, back in Chicago in the early '90s, waking up. We happened to be at the house, off the road for a couple of days, and I remember waking up, and I remember this piece of data that I got from the higher dimensions, and it was that and I saw them when I was on the other dimensions, and it was shown to me. I saw them. I literally saw them, and then when I woke up, I remembered what I saw, and I remember to this day exactly what I saw, and I always have remembered. But it wasn't really relevant until just a couple of years ago, and then I'll share that right after this. Well, what was shown to me by me was that in the palm of each of my hands, I have a pyramidal crystal. Comes and it's in my auric energy, one of my energetic bodies. You have your physical body, then your aura, or you have layers and layers of your aura. And people that can see them, they see different colors or blendings of colors, and it's like those are your energetic bodies that are part of you, part of your energetic field. Well, in one of my energetic bodies, I have these crystals that stick out about this far out of the palms of my hands, and they're pyramidal type crystals. They come to a point, from a base to a point, and I have one in each hand. And okay, that's what I saw, and like I said, I've known it for 25 years, but I never made a big deal about it or focused on it up until 2 years ago. Like I shared in the last video, after I retired, I was sitting out in the garden, sitting in my chair meditating, and when you meditate, you have these different finger positions. So they're called mudras. Okay, if you know what I'm talking about. And I had three specific mudras that I would use. This one, then I would do this one, and then I would do these two together like that. And you different mudras for different purposes. Okay, and so I was sitting here meditating, and then I got this piece of data vertically from larger self, and it said the crystals are now online. That's exactly what I heard. Direct quote. No, no, no. It was backwards. Okay. First thing I heard, but these are two statements, but this is what I heard. Direct quote. The mudras are no longer necessary. The crystals are now online. Now, I used phraseology online, knowing that I'm in the modern, quote, technological age, that I would understand what that, quote, the crystals are online. I would know, I would understand and interpret that and know what it meant, that they were now activated and useful. They're serviceable. The crystals in my palms are now serviceable. And that's exactly what I heard. The mudras are no longer necessary. The crystals are online. And from that point forward, over 2 years now, damn near 2.5 years, when I meditate with open palms. The crystals are activated. When I bless my food, I do, matter of fact, I'll show it like this. I do, it's a sequence of circles, and it's a vibrational technology. And I do 9, 9, 5. I do that over my food when it's sitting in front of me on the table. 9, 9, 5. And then I hold my hands, palms down, over my food, and I bless my food. Thank you, Mother Father. Thank you, Mother Father God, for this food. Yada yada. One day I'll go through the whole thing, but I won't right now. But anyway, and as I'm doing that, because I now know the crystals are online, and I have gone through a bunch of energetic work in the last 2.5 years since I've been retired, is specifically out in the garden, which I'll share about that maybe in a little while, or another video. But I can feel energy coursing through my body all the time. Uh, not like 24 hours a day where I'm like walking around going like this, but yeah, I can feel when I'm holding my hands over my food, blessing my food. I can feel energy either emanating out of my heart chakra, like your heart chakra is right here. Well, your high heart chakra is right here, and that's the seated quote seat of your soul. I can feel the energy emanating from my high heart chakra out this way, out all over, but I can feel it run down my arms and out through my palms of my hands, and I can feel it coming down from the crown chakra in my head, just whoosh, flow over me, come down my arms, and then out my hands and into my food. In line with that, so those were two pieces of data that I got vertically. In line with that, because it has something to do with the same thing. In 2017, it was around summer, maybe fall of 2017. I was sitting at the dinner table, and just as I was getting ready to eat dinner, I hadn't done my ritual 995, but I just felt this wash of energy just flow from the top of my head and just flow, and I literally felt it saturate every cell of my body. I didn't break out in goosebumps or nothing or sweat or anything. It was just a flowing like honey all down me, and it just saturated and my body absorbed it. And the image I got was the violet flame of transmutation. Now that freaked me out. Violet flame of transmutation. Some of you might already know what that is. If you don't, look it up. But it exists. And when it was done, it was like, wow. Now, about 2 hours later, after dinner, I'm still sitting there at the table, have got up, washed my dishes, but I'm still sitting in the same spot at the table, and I don't have a computer yet, so I'm like using my phone to look at YouTube videos, and I run across a YouTube video that's being spoken from the first person, and it's the violet flame of transmutation saying, "Hello, nice to meet you. I am an entity. I am a consciousness. I do exist." This is 2 hours after I felt and in my own consciousness heard the words and knew what was happening, the violet flame of transmutation. And then 2 hours later, I run across this video on YouTube. You talk about synchronicities, and it's like, trust your data. That's what I mean by trust your data. Like I said, I've been doing this long enough where my mental body pretty much, it doesn't give me a hard time most times about anything because it's had tons and tons of evidence to where I just tell it, you do what you need to do when I have to figure something out because you're the tool that helps me figure shit out here in the third dimension. Like I got a problem in my everyday life, having to do with government or logistics, this, or helping a friend do that, just working shit out. But when it comes to my interaction with the third dimensional outside of me reality, it's my spiritual body, me, that I focus through because that's who I am, and that's where my focus is. I don't focus through my mental body. I don't call that. I don't like. I can't call anything. I can't call bullshit on anything. I literally cannot call bullshit on anything because I know everything is possible. I am fully aware and accepting the paradoxical nature of the universe. So again, I admonish you to trust your data. Nobody is, when you get a piece of data vertically from larger self, there's nobody outside of you that heard that. That was for you and you only. So who is qualified to call bullshit? Your mental body can't call bullshit because that data is outside of its filters and parameters. That data is outside of your five senses, which is where your mental body gets its data from. It gets its input from your five senses. And then it runs around and tries to deal with, predict and control and operate within the 3D based on the data it receives from your five senses. Well, when you get a piece of data directly, vertically from spirit, that's for you, the mental body. I mean, the spiritual body. The mental body doesn't know what to do with it, which is why it will call bullshit, because it doesn't know what to do with it. It's speaking a different language, so it just discards it, which is why I admonish you that's listening to this, focus through your spiritual body and trust your data. You will get pieces of information. Pieces of information that are outside of the realm of your mental body. So you trust your data. When I was training out in the garden 2 years ago, and I was seriously doing some training, laying out in the garden. Remember I told you about laying in between the rows of tomatoes and peppers, and with crystal on my forehead, laying in the sun. And imagine the sunlight, the energy, the data, the life force of the sun being magnified through the crystal into my third eye. Think about that for a while, okay? So that's what part of my training. One of the things that I was made aware of, and I could perceive not only was I told this or given this information, is just through my own experience and awareness of focusing through my spiritual body in that particular setting, I was aware of this. I was in an interdimensional laboratory. My garden on the 3D looked like a garden of vegetables. I'm laying between the rows of tomatoes and peppers. I have different kind of peppers, but laying peppers on this side of me and tomato plants on this side of me, and I'm laying in the dirt on my back with a crystal on my forehead, with my arms up laying in the sun, and it's like that's what it looked like in the 3D. And anybody that walked out in the backyard and saw me doing that, what the fuck is wrong with him? What's up with him? But what I was perceiving from inside through my spiritual body is I knew exactly where I was. I was in a laboratory. I was laying on a gurney / table, and I was being operated on. I could feel things. I could sense like it was like a white gauze a veil was laid over my eyesight, but I could see shadows. I could see beings. I could sense distance. I could tell there was a wall over there, and there were things hanging on the wall. I knew that I was physically in a laboratory. But I also knew simultaneously, multidimensionally, I was laying in the garden between the rows of tomatoes and peppers. So it's like, trust your data. Who outside of me is qualified to tell me that that's not what I was experiencing? I know I was experiencing that because I'm sitting here telling you about it. I could feel activity all over my body. Things were being done to my physical body. Oh, check this out. And I still don't know what it means. So again, trust your data, because the mental body, or if I've told several people this, and I tell them I have not a clue. I did not make this up. This is not bullshit. I didn't make it up because I can't explain it. If I made it up, I'd be able to come up with an explanation of what it means if I made it up. Doesn't that make sense? If you make up a story or say a statement, you should be able to explain that statement and the concept behind it. Well, I don't. Then I'm laying in the garden. I'm laying on the gurney in the interdimensional laboratory, and this is what I hear. Your eyesight is being recalibrated. I don't see out of this eye, and what I can see out of this eye, there's no peripheral vision. It's pretty much tunnel vision. If I'm not looking directly at it, I don't see it. and it's blurry, which is consequently why I retired from driving a big truck. I don't even drive a car. I don't even have a driver's license. I have a California senior citizen's ID card. I don't own a driver's license. I don't drive a vehicle. I don't see well enough to be on the public highway behind the wheel of a vehicle. But this is what I hear. Land in the garden slash interdimensional laboratory. Your eyesight is being recalibrated, and I have, for the life of me, no clue what that means. But I trust my data. I've also have heard over and over and over, and this is to you, Ann, because when that comment that you made, I saw what you said, and it clicks a remembrance, a memory, and this has happened in the last couple of years. Like I said, when I retired, this was turning of a new page in my life, turning the page on a new chapter in my life, and it's been a ride, it's been a blast, okay. But I kept hearing for a long period of time, I kept hearing, allow the process. Simply that, allow the process, which is what I do. I don't know what the process is. When I was talking about that, the tingling and the flickering in my face and my eyelashes and shit, I kept hearing. Before I met Kim and Kim introduced that was her and her presence in the body, I kept hearing, because I was, like I said, that thing was freaking me out, because something had control of my body that I couldn't control, but something outside of me, the Michael talking to you, had control of my body, had control to a degree of my body that I couldn't affect. I couldn't stop it, couldn't start it, yada, yada. But I kept hearing, allow the process, allow the process. So, I'm trying to keep this kind of short. I wanted to keep it around 15 minutes, but right. But we're getting to close to 30 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out. Again, allow the process. Trust your data. Trust your data. That's why I'm going to label this one. I think I'm going to label it Go Vertical. No, because I'm going to just do Trust Your Data Part 3. Because the Go Vertical, there's a bunch else I want to say in regards to that I just don't want to run this into an hour-long video. So I'm going to leave it here right about 30 minutes. But so this one will be Trust Your Data Part 3. And more than anything, I hope if you're listening to this, and because I don't these talks, these videos are not just like hit and miss. There is a method to my madness. There is there is a sequence, and which is why out of all the technologies that I've got from Hilarious, I've only been authorized to share the one. And I truly, truly, truly hope that you guys are doing that. Rescinding the vows. If you aren't, go back to that one. Go back to that. I forget which one, but oh shoot, which video is it? I think I titled it Rescinding the Vows. Anyway, go back to that. That is a tool. If you really, I'm not a teacher. I'm not an outside authority. But I have done this, and it works, and I'm sharing it with you. I'm just sharing it with you because it's mine to do. I'm not trying to make money off of this. I hope. I've got 7 subscribers now. Believe me, that shocked me. I'm humbled, thrilled, the whole 9 yards. I have 7 subscribers. That just blows me away. So the 7 of you, and whoever else is viewing this, because I'm watching the counts, they're becoming more and more views. People, rescinding of vows. I admonish you, please. That technology works. And as far as I'm concerned, especially in the early part of this journey, that is one of the most dynamic tools you'll ever come across to do the quote inner work. Because most people don't tell you. They'll just use the phrase, do the work, do the shadow work, do the inner work. But they don't give you the nuts and bolts of how to do it. They don't share you really any tools, except maybe come see me for a fee. You see, and I'll help you do the inner work. No, I'm sharing these tools work and I'm giving them to you for free. And all I ask is that if you really want to grow, utilize these tools and start with rescinding the vows. And there's nothing you have to do. Just start doing it, and higher self, larger you, will work with you, knows exactly what you're doing. But there's the illusion of free will. Larger self, he brought you here and exposed you to the tool, just like the eagle landing on your shoulder, making a suggestion of you might want to go this way because it knows about the rapids down the river that you can't see. So all higher self, larger self, the big you can do is make the suggestion. The illusion of free will is you can choose or not to choose it, to listen to that, pay heed to that suggestion, take that advice. Well, big you brought you here. Big you put you in a position to get these tools, at least this first one, and there will be others as we go along. It's your choice whether you utilize the tools or not. And if you make the choice to utilize the tools, Big U will applaud and just start working with you, because Big U is the ones that removes the veils off your consciousness, not you. You're not doing it by utilizing the tools, because most of the vows and the veils are unconscious. But you have to take the first step to say, yes, I'll engage. And then the Big U will bring all the stuff, the vows and the veils, up to your consciousness, and you'll get it. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. The more you do it, UP22 works all the time. What you focus on, the universe will rearrange it, give you more of it. So when you focus on that, on utilizing this tool, it'll just happen. It'll organically happen. I love you. My blessings on your journey, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.